Hey guys, so I'm super excited to shoot this video today because I've been wanting to do an Ancestry DNA test for a really long time, and I'm kind of happy because YouTube gave me an opportunity to push me to spend the $100 to do it. I went through the Ancestry DNA instead of 23andMe, which I know is another really popular DNA test. I like this one a little bit more because it gives you the regions and overall percentages. So yeah, I'm going to get right into it, and I'm going to tell you guys what percentages I thought I was and what percentages I actually am. So what I thought I was on my dad's side was 25% Irish, 25% Italian. And then on my mom's side, I'm not sure of the percentages, but I was told I was French, German, Irish, and Cherokee, with those percentages ranging from the largest to the smallest. Okay. So I'm going to get right into my results. So right off the bat, it tells me that I'm 42% British. That is a really big number considering no one has ever mentioned to me in my whole entire life that I might be British. I don't know where that possibly could have come from. Maybe I had British ancestors that lived in other countries. I really don't know. That's a staggering number. And then the next biggest percentage that came up is Irish, and that came up as 20%. I'm quite surprised that that wasn't higher considering I have it on both sides of my family, and I was told I was around 30% at least or more Irish. Italy and Greece, they lumped them together as one. That came up as 13%, which obviously considering I was told I was 25% is super low. And then this one was really fascinating to me. I came up as 6% Scandinavian. I had no idea that was ever going to come up or that I was any bit Scandinavian. So this is really fascinating. I feel like I learned a lot from this. So going into the low confidence regions, it told me that I was 6% from Europe East, which is kind of like the Poland, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Austria, Russia area. I have no idea where that specifically could come from because, yes, while I am Scandinavian, none of those countries are listed in Europe East. So this must have been like way back in the day because no one can pinpoint that I have talked to that has researched our family DNA can figure out where that comes from. The next low confidence region it gave me was Europe West, and this one makes, a lot more sense to me than any of the other ones, just because it includes like Belgium, France, and Germany, which obviously I already told you that I was told I'm French and German. I'm quite surprised this didn't come up as a higher percentage, but it is what it is. The next one that came up for me was the Iberian Peninsula, which is considered Spain and Portugal, and that came up as 3%. Once again, no idea where this could have been in the DNA line. The last percentage that came up for the low confidence region from Europe was Finland and Northwest Russia, and that came up as 2%. That's super interesting. Once again, I talked to some family members and they have no idea where that could have come from, and they don't think it's from my mom's side, and no one on my dad's side has ever researched this except for me, but no one knows where this like Russian/Finland came from. Yeah, it's a really low percentage, but it was still enough to come up on here, so that's really interesting. Then going into the West Asia sector, that was only a total of 3%, but the Middle East came up as 2%. That's considered Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Oman, Yemen, those types of countries. I feel like this was probably like bound to come up considering I'm Italian, mostly European. I find that this is probably something that's way back in the genetic line. I'm not really surprised, and I feel like it's probably from all the conquerings that the Romans did back in the day. That's just my guess. And then Caucasus also came up, and it said it was less than 1%. Those are countries like Armenia and Georgia, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. Once again, a super small percentage, but it's definitely plausible that this was way back in the genetic line, like during the Roman times, I think at least. The last sector to come up was Africa, and it came up as less than 1%. Interesting because if I am Italian, and I'm told that I definitely am, my great grandma came here from Sicily through Ellis Island. Africa, North Africa, and Sicily are like literally a boat ride away. So I thought that more African would have come up, but only less than 1% came up. So really interesting. So one thing that really surprised me about this is that Native American, specifically Cherokee, never came up. I mean, I know for certain that my family is Cherokee, and while it might be a very small percentage for me, it didn't come up at all. And I feel like, and people have told me that that's because they don't have enough genetic markers to test for that kind of stuff. So they say as this test progresses in the future and as they get more samples from people, then that might become something that can be figured out. But until then, I'm gonna wait and see if it changes. I guess the takeaway from this for me is that what you're told and what you think you are probably wrong, at least to some degree, because like I said, I was never told that I was British, and it came up as 42%. So, I mean, genes come down to like percentages and science and all that stuff, but I guess your culture is what kind of like weighs out the most. So, I think these are really fun tools to use, but the most important thing I think is like what you identify as. And I think most people would agree with that. Yeah, so if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if anything in here was interesting to you or something similar has happened to you. I'd love to hear if you guys have done this. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.